Good day, eh? For today's video, seeing as there is a Deadpool movie on the horizon and it's almost Canada Day, I figured we'd talk about one of Canada's greatest superheroes, Deadpool, baby! Yeah! So, alright, let's go!
Alright, so we start off on the SHIELD Hellicarrier, where Deadpool is giving a comedy routine to some SHIELD agents. Which normally would be a really weird thing, but after all, you know, this is Deadpool we're talking about. But it makes even more sense considering that Deadpool used to be part of the SHIELD trainee hero program, alongside his buddies Nova, Power Man, White Tiger, and Iron Fist. But he decided to skedaddle away from there because he figured he can make more money as a gun for hire. To which, eventually, Spider-Man replaced him on the team. So yeah, you're caught up with some back history, yay! The main reason Deadpool is on the Hellicarrier is because he needs some information about the whereabouts of the villainous Taskmaster. Turns out this Taskmaster jerk stole a bunch of files containing the secret identities of a bunch of SHIELD agents, which is horribly compromising to the organization. So with Deadpool figuring that he's such a wonderful guy, you know, he's gonna retrieve these files for SHIELD. Spider-Man tags along because he figures, you know, like, wow, this guy is really awesome. I can have so much on-the-job training with him. And, well, I guess mostly because he doesn't want to do any more training sessions with Agent Coulson. And I can't blame him. So the Spider-Pool duo leave on a jet plane. Don't know when they'll be back again. Considering it's a jet plane that Deadpool stole from Stark Industries. But almost immediately, they are being chased by some of Taskmaster's goons flying on jetpacks. And man, if you're like Deadpool or Spider-Man, you're thinking, geez man, we got this fight made in the shade, right? Those fools are flying around on jetpacks and we have a frickin' jet! A jet that has missiles and guns and, you know, you're protected inside this thing. These jetpack fools will be blown out of the sky! But unfortunately, no, because this is Deadpool we're talking about. He decides the best course of action is to go all Top Gun and eject out of the jet! Which, oh my god, what the hell is wrong with you? You had the winning cards in your hand, man, and you just throw it away! Not only are you basically sitting ducks, but you're also susceptible to gravity, which is also trying to kill you at this point. But somehow, it's all good. Spidey and Daddy are able to beat the crap out of all these guys and essentially kill them by ripping the jetpacks off of their backs. Which, like, ay, right? Spider-Man is starting to become full of regret by following Deadpool on this mission. Not only with what just happened with the jet, but especially when Deadpool states that his plan is to break into Taskmaster's compound, which turns out they conveniently ejected out of the jet right above this compound. Huh, like the guy knew what he was doing. But the rest of Deadpool's plan is for him to unalive everybody inside the compound. Which, you know, Spidey, being like a really good guy, is absolutely against flat-out murder. So Spider-Man has to do double duty by trying to save all of Taskmaster's goons against Deadpool while also trying to incapacitate them in the fight. And that personnel would include Taskmaster himself. Oh man, but we got a good fight brewing here. Deadpool versus Taskmaster. But it's like really one-sided fight. I wouldn't even call it a fight. I'll just call it a frickin' jump around of embarrassments, man. Deadpool is so sporadic and insane that basically Taskmaster cannot figure out any of his fight moves. And he is made to look like quite a fool in this fight. Especially when Spider-Man has to save him from Deadpool. Jeez, I actually kind of feel bad for him. But it's all good, right? Spider-Man and Deadpool retrieve the file of the SHIELD agent identities. All these Taskmaster goons, you know, are all tied up, ready to be handed over to SHIELD. So the day is saved. Crap, of course it's not. Because turns out Deadpool is a jerk. A lovable jerk, you know, but a jerk nonetheless. He confesses that actually he was the one who stole the agent list from SHIELD because he intended to sell this list to the highest paying villain. But he forgot the file in the bathroom and Taskmaster just took the file off his hands. So, out of embarrassment, he has to get the file back, right? To which, of course, he will still try to sell. So Spider-Man is livid! He's horrified! He's something or else or other-fied too! He can't let Deadpool get away with this, so now it's on! Spider-Man versus Deadpool! Fight! And you know what? It's actually a pretty decent fight! Especially considering the fact that they are fighting on Taskmaster's booby-trapped compound. With arrows and piranhas and exploding things. It's basically man versus environment. It's a three-way fight. And as awesome as this fight is, damn it gets so stupid. Because while they're fighting, they also decide to express themselves through imagination. You know? Like, for example, when Deadpool is chasing Spider-Man down, he make-believes that he is Captain Ahab chasing down a spider whale. Which, But, you know, like, the whole point of the fight still kind of gets through, right? Like, you can still see how they're trying to beat the crap out of each other, but still. But in the end, Spider-Man gets the uppercut on Deadpool with a morality knockout. Because with using his words, he makes Deadpool feel feelings about himself that he doesn't like to feel. So instead of making Spidey shut up, he grabs a jetpack and flies away. Gone. Leaving Spider-Man with the agent identity list and a whole bunch of tied up Taskmaster goons. So now the day is saved. Hooray! And with that, that is the end of this insane tale.
So yes indeed, eh? Deadpool and Spider-Man. You know, I do gotta say, the first time I watched this episode, I really didn't like it. I thought it was too annoying. And I think the problem with that had to be with the actual show itself. Not exactly my favorite Spider-Man show of all time, you know, but like, it is pretty decent, you know, for what it is, right? But the problem I had with this episode before was Deadpool in it. Which is a horrible thing for me to say, because, like, I love the character. But as we all know, Deadpool is a crazy, zany character who is really basically insane, and he loves to break the fourth wall. The problem being is that this Ultimate Spider-Man show is crazy and zany and insane, and they love to break the fourth wall. So in order for Deadpool to work in this series, he had to be crazier than his regular crazier self, you know? If he was just being his usual self on the show, like, my god, he just would have been a regular character, and that wouldn't have been interesting for someone like Deadpool. Nope. So in making him zanier, man, it's like they almost made him too zany, you know? And that originally threw me for a loop, man, because it was just too much, you know, for the character. He actually came off as a tryhard with his comedy, man, and that's like brutal, you know? Especially when it came to all those cutscenes of the fantasy fighting. Like, it was, my god, man, you know, just have them fight. Like when Spider-Man was actually fighting Deadpool, you're thinking, all right, man, this is gonna be a beauty fight. But then the fights turned into imagination land, you know, where you seen the fight from their fantasy perspective, like Deadpool fishing for Spider-Man, like, come on. But the second time watching the episode, I kind of knew what I was getting into, and I just kind of focused a bit more on Deadpool and, you know, who he is, man, and actually, yeah, you know, it was a lot more enjoyable. They totally nailed the basic concept of the Deadpool character. Just when you think he's doing something crazy and zany and out of the blue and it makes no sense, like, you realize he's doing things for a very specific reason. And it always works in his favor. He just happens to be insane. He always knows what he's doing! But even though this episode took a couple of times for me to get into it, you know, like I say, it's still pretty awesome. And to see Deadpool in any kind of form, you know, cartoon, live action, comic book, video game, whatever, it's always awesome to see him. And with that, I do have some more behind the scenes kind of things about Deadpool, Spider-Man, Taskmaster even, why not, you know, all that stuff over here.
So yeah, Deadpool! This episode is not Deadpool's first cartoon appearance. That honor would go to the 2009 animated movie Hulk vs. Wolverine, part of the Hulk vs. series where there was also a Hulk vs. Thor. Both of them were pretty fantastic, man, but this Hulk vs. Wolverine, legendary! With Wolverine, Deadpool, Sabretooth, Omega Red, like frickin' everybody. Good stuff. So for this featured episode, Deadpool's history was changed a little bit to kind of fit into the series. In this episode, Deadpool was some random kid on the street who was getting bullied a whole lot, and he was recruited into SHIELD by Nick Fury. And presumably, Deadpool had his healing factor the whole time in this series. Whereas, in the comics, no. Deadpool was in the US Army Special Forces and eventually joined up with the Weapon X program, where he was experimented on, and that's where he got his healing factor. He then became a mercenary for hire and stuff like that, and bam bam bada bing bada boom, you got Deadpool. So two different ways of getting to the same point with the character, I guess. Another character appearing in this episode, of course, was Taskmaster. This was also not his first cartoon appearance. He actually appeared in an earlier Ultimate Spider-Man episode called Why I Hate Gym Class, where Taskmaster was disguised as the gym teacher trying to recruit Peter Parker into his organization, the very same organization that you've seen in this featured episode. So hooray for continuity! So let's get to Deadpool and Taskmaster. This episode actually did a pretty good job of showcasing how Taskmaster cannot defeat Deadpool. Taskmaster has a pretty awesome ability where he can study anyone's fighting style, he can even duplicate that style, find any weaknesses in that style, and then beat the crap out of his foe with all this knowledge. But he cannot do that with Deadpool because Deadpool doesn't have any kind of style per se. He'll go from fighting style to interpretive dance to, 90s hip-hop dance moves. There's no rhyme or reason, man, so Taskmaster can't figure this out and subsequently gets his butt kicked every single time. One thing I do like about Deadpool and Taskmaster is that in the comic books, for a while, they were kind of buddy-buddy. In the Deadpool comics, in the late 90s, man, it was such a fantastic run. I absolutely loved it. With the stories, with the artwork, with the insanity, seeing how the criminal underworld operates, in plain sight in the real world. Fantastic! So Taskmaster and Deadpool weren't exactly friends, but they were working together a lot. As Taskmaster stated, it was a professional courtesy, to work with Deadpool. Even after this Deadpool comic turned into Agent X, which isn't horrible because it's the same creative team that was working on Deadpool, but still, Agent X, come on. But Deadpool also had a bunch of team-ups with Spider-Man. Some memorable issues being Amazing Spider-Man number 611 in 2010, and another fantastic tale in Deadpool volume 4, number 19 in 2016. Seeing as these two characters are so freaking popular, for Marvel Comics, and people couldn't get enough of them, Marvel did come out with a Spider-Man Deadpool comic series starting in 2016, which was kind of written as a bromance. And which also highlighted the duo's similarities and differences, which is kind of nice because that's also what this featured episode kind of did. They do have some similar traits, but man, really, when you break down to it, man, they are completely two different people. But are they really that different? Some people claim that Deadpool is nothing more than a Spider-Man ripoff, without the webs, I guess. And even in this featured episode, Deadpool was suggesting that Spider-Man was actually a ripoff of him. Similar costume, the big eyes, stuff like that. So, is Deadpool a ripoff of Spider-Man? Well, yes and no. Mostly no. So Deadpool was based on a number of characters, much like every other character is. So he was influenced by Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe, Wolverine from the X-Men, and, obviously, Spider-Man. Especially in those early runs of when Deadpool first appeared in New Mutants, co-creators Rob Liefeld and Fabian Nicieza did use Spider-Man as a base model for their character. He's wisecracking, he's super athletic, he's really skilled, and those first stories was basically, as they put it, Spider-Man, but if he was a villain and used guns and swords instead, And with Spider-Man's wisecracking and stuff like that, they turned it up to 11 for Deadpool, so he's still pretty funny like Spider-Man, but just a total jackass, right? So in a way, yeah, for a bit, he was kind of based on Spidey, but then the character evolved quite a bit, and became much more un-Spider-Man kind of ish. So yeah, those are some of the basic skinnies about Deadpool, about Taskmaster, about their interactions with Spider-Man, So it's all pretty hip. But there will definitely be more Deadpool stories, so I'll get to the other stuff kind of later. But yeah, so with this, that, those, and the other things, I guess That's that. Also, if you're interested, I created my own comic book channel, 215 Comics. And currently, I have created my own cartoon series, The Adventures of the Density. And recently started a radio series featuring my newest character, Elastomorph, with more titles to come. So if you want to check it out, I'll leave a link up top here to that channel and some links at the end of the video. Yeah! Right on, and there you go. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you liked it as much as I did making it. Also, feel free to check out the source material that I featured in this video. And if you want to leave a comment on anything you may have liked or things I might have missed in this, feel free to do so. Or anything else, just to say hi. That's cool too. And other than that, have a great day. Thanks.